I went in there and I basically asked them, did CSA make me gay?
Hey everyone, it's Ellie
And Tara.
and welcome back to another Ready to Shift episode. We are here once again live at YWLS.
Yes, that is Young Women's Leadership Summit in Dallas, Texas. And we have a wonderful guest here today. Can you please introduce yourself?
I'm Ari.
Nice to meet you, Ari. Now why don't you talk to us a little bit about your story so we get to know you.
I'm a detrans gay guy. I was medicalized 17 years ago at an LGBT center. I detransitioned at the turn of this year. I'm a married gay man who's gone all the way and went bottom surgery. And yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely a story. Now, tell us during your time, what made you or influenced you to want to take that step to transition?
I went through CSA, so childhood sexual assault, between the ages of 4 to 12. I went into an LGBT center because I had extreme issues with my body and I didn't really feel comfortable as an effeminate gay man. I didn't really feel comfortable existing in the world. And I was given a framework of gender to interpret my problems. So I went in there and I basically asked them, did CSA make me gay? Did CSA give me these body issues? And they told me no, being gay is innate. And this looks like gender identity and gender dysphoria. And we began the process of diagnosing that. And I got put in a support group filled with 45-year-old autogynephiles.
Wow, and how old were you during that time?
17.
17 with a group of 45-year-olds.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, and what did that look like?
That looked like someone who was gay, who was traumatized, who had a lot of body issues, a little obsessive about my appearance, had to have all the curls perfect and stuff, being surrounded by men who were straight, had wives and children, went into the military for decades sometimes, and then came out and decided that they were women. And I'm not going to lie, I sat in that group and looked at them horrified, going, this cannot be me. I cannot be this. And that heavily influenced the decision to medicalize young.
So it was during that process that really made you want to do that. Now, you had to go through sort of like a diagnosis to be able to transition. How long did that take?
It took a year. So during that year, I was in support groups filled with these older men. I was supposed to cross-dress, which wasn't something I'd ever done before. Like the closest I'd ever come was buying women's jeans or shorts to make my butt look good for guys. You know, that was like it. So I was a little bit of like a non-conforming, like pretty boy who liked to have pants that showed off his butt. And that was the extent of cross-dressing. But then I was expected to cross-dress and go out for a year while they assessed my mental health to see if that made things better. I came from a very, very traditional family. I wasn't really allowed to express myself. I wasn't allowed to take my own clothes or anything like that. So, like the treatment at that point was go be yourself, but take it a little bit further. Like it was more than like it's okay for you to want pink shirts or like pretty things. It was go and try to live and present as the opposite sex, and let's see if that makes you feel better. There were elements of that were nice, like, oh, I have free reign to wear whatever I want and like to be non-conforming. But instead of like exploring myself as a non-conforming gay youth, I was expressing that through the framework of gender and trying to present as a woman.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now let's jump to what you're up to now, because we're at Turning Point, right? Which is usually, speaks out against transgenderism, and especially transing someone under the age of 18.
Mm-hmm.
So where's your place in this movement on this side of this?
I'm advocating for transitioning altogether to be shut down like the southern border. I think they are diagnosing people with a generalized symptom that applies to multiple different demographics. I don't think they're asking the question, why do people feel this way? I think they're just rushing them through the process, through affirmation, into a path of medicalization that makes a lot of money, but makes us perpetual lifetime medical patients and victims. And so I came out at the Riley Gaines event on May 6th with a sign that says protect women from AGPs. And I believe that the reason I came to this position that people are just being misdiagnosed is because I found out about AGP. I found out what autogynephilia was. I found out the extent of it, and realizing that nobody's diagnosed with autogynephilia made me look for, well, what is true trans?
Right.
And on that journey of looking for who the real trans people are, who the valid trans people are, what I found is it was all just fabricated. It was all just made up in the 1920s by Magnus Hirschfeld and Havelock Ellis, who were looking for a way to trans the gay away so non-conforming gays could exist in fascist Europe. So I became completely disenchanted. I became very angry because I'd been lied to. I lived my life based on that lie for 17 years, mutilated my body based on it. And so now I'm just speaking out and hoping to advocate to shut it down.
And something happened to you while you were at at a protest. Why don't you tell us about that?
Well, I heard that Christians had gathered against child sex trafficking and against transitioning children, and at the Cal Anderson Park in Seattle, and Antifa and Trantifa busted the event. 23 of them were arrested, and Christian Americans decided to do a prayer rattle on the steps of City Hall, and the mayor called them far-right extremists and said that they didn't have enough police to protect them from Antifa. So I showed up to counter-protest Antifa again. I think it goes on the 26th of May, and they attacked me. They pinned me against the wall with a bicycle. Someone came out of right field and just slammed their bike into me, and they cut my right leg off with the tire of their bike, and I have a torn meniscus. My knee went out from under me. I slammed into the wall. I actually have some tearing of some nerves inside where I had surgery from twisting and getting hit like that. They screamed at me. They told me things like, "My God hates me." When I said that I was a gay man, they told me that God hates me. And they were very bigoted and hateful because I decided that I'm not trans and left the cult.
That's like such irony.
Isn't that strange how it that it's like you have gone through similar experiences just as they have, but can we even explain why that's happening so much? Is the detransitioners being shoved out of the club?
Yeah, well, and this is why I started speaking out so vocally, because I have a lot of friends who were medicalized 10 years younger than me. They were 13 or 12 when they were medicalized, and they can't speak out. Now they're 20 to 25. They need to recover and get their life together. I came to this position at 33 years old, a married gay man, and my husband and I are both well off. So I can afford to have Trantifa attack me, dox me, leak my address, which is exactly what they did.
Wow.
They doxed my name, my family, and my address, everything, as soon as I went public. And that's why you see so few detransitioners speaking out, because they go after your entire life as soon as you question the cult.
Wow.
What would your advice be to someone who's thinking about detransitioning and maybe even detransitioning publicly?
Put yourself first. Don't detransition publicly. Take care of yourself. Take care of your health. Focus on what you need to do to improve your life and to take the steps to heal. Unless you have the ability to weather everything I've described, don't do it publicly. Look out for yourself. You've been hurt enough.
And one final question for me is, what would you say to somebody young, maybe a teenager who's thinking about transitioning? What would you say to them?
At the end of the day, taking estrogen if you're a male increases your anxiety, it increases your depression. These surgeries reduce your lifespan by an average of 25 years. I medicalized for 17 years, found the man of my dreams. We both have 6 figures. We have the picket fence and the 2 dogs, and it didn't work. There's no going back once you make that decision. If it doesn't work at the end of the road, you are stuck in a body that you don't want. and it's terrible. You should really take the time to consider whether or not it's right for you, because I know a lot of people who didn't think about it enough or listen to their doctors, and now we're stuck.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being able to share and being vulnerable, because your story is so impactful, just like Chloe's story. And we need more people like you to be able to do that. And I know it's tough. It is really tough. But thank you so much. I do want to shout out your social media, so tell us.
It's Transphobe01 or Animosity. On Twitter, Transphobe01. And if you search Animosity and you see a picture of me, it's probably me.
Thank you so much for just letting us interview.
And thanks for having me on. Appreciate you guys.
And nice. Wonderful. Yeah.